Happy Halloween from Candy Adventures here on this oceanfront camping spot.
We at Candy Adventures are really big fans of Halloween. And so for this Halloween, we came here out in the middle of the jungle and we wanted to do a video talking about ghosts.
And to keep it in tradition, you always tell ghost stories around a campfire.
We thought we would focus on some ghost stories and some spooky stuff and legends that are current to where we are. Everybody's locked down on travel restrictions right now, so we're going to take advantage of the ghosts that we have here, which there's a lot of stories here.
For ghosts particular to the Guam location, we're going to dive into something that is called the Taotaomo'na.
Taotaomo'na.
The Taotaomo'na.
I believe the direct translation into English is just like those that came before. If you've got some Taotaomo'na stories or some haunting stories or some ghost related or supernatural stuff, drop it in the comment section because we'd love to put this video up before Halloween and have plenty of time for people to leave comments to add to the story and add to some spookiness or share some of your own personal stuff.
So first we're going to start the most recent and then we'll kind of work our way back in time.
We went to Old Guam Memorial Hospital first. The grounds there. It's right on the edge of a cliff in a really, really pretty place. And we went and we've heard that it's haunted. So starting with something a little bit more modern in the supernatural theme of this video, we're here at the Old Guam Memorial Hospital, which was, I think, torn down sometime 20-30 years ago and was in operation. It was the main hospital up until I think the 80s.
A lot of people don't go here because it is considered haunted and there aren't really any remnants left of the hospital. It's just concrete. But we did travel up this trail that's right off the grounds and we came to this.
This is a nunu tree, or also in English, as you might know it, a banyan tree.
Or technically it's a ficus.
These are said to house Taotaomo'nas. And the bigger the tree is, what I've heard is that the more spirits and the more powerful that the tree actually is. This tree right here it's part of the Chamorro culture that if you mess with this tree, if you touch this tree, that's when you're going to start having problems, maybe getting sick or getting pinched, or maybe you find yourself lost in the woods or in the jungle even though you know where you're at. So this is a very sacred tree on Guam. The only thing we're finding right now so far is biting ants, lots of spiders, and plenty of mosquitoes. So we're going to keep looking around here and see if we can find something. One of the big myths that legends that I've heard several times from different people is that there was a baby here that was born or cursed with the head of a full-grown person, like an old lady head on a baby's body. And then if you're up here, you can hear that baby screaming, and some people have seen it. Alright, so not a lot of haunting or Taotaomo'na sign here. Now granted, we didn't stay super late at night, but we don't see a lot of, we're hoping for some cool structures to be left here that we don't really see any of. So we're going to go check somewhere else where maybe...
Might be a little more activity from the Taotaomo'na.
Yep. So now we're moving back in time a little bit and we're going to go check the old bridge.
So as you saw, we didn't really get any supernatural experience while we were there, but we did go to another location that is far more haunted. A lot of people don't drive down this specific ravine because they are wary of the spirit that could possibly live there. The story with the White Lady, as she's known, or the White Lady Bridge, is that back in the Spanish occupation of Guam, there was a Spanish officer who was married to a local Chamorro lady. And one night, at the area that this bridge is now, the waters raised up a lot because it had been raining all night. And the officer asked his wife to go get them some water from the river, and she was swept away. We just arrived at the site of the White Lady, which is a common haunted place here in Guam. And as soon as we pulled up, this puppy just ran out of the woods.
Yeah, so a little bit creepy because it was as soon as we pulled up in the truck. So anyway, we're going to hang out here just a little while longer and see if we can capture something at the White Lady Bridge.
You're more likely to see her on the nights of full moons. And you're also supposed to smell some sort of sweet smell, like flowers or fruits or perfume. And sometimes you'll actually catch a glance of her. She's supposed to be in a white dress with silver hair, which historically, from what we've read, was common with some of the Chamorro women. They would actually bleach their hair so it would be silver in appearance.
So we've been here for a little bit. Haven't seen any White Lady, but it's still very, very, very odd. We've never had a puppy come up to us like this, walking around anywhere in the jungle, but to immediately park and have this puppy, which has some white on it, is very neat and kind of lends to the thought that maybe there could be something supernatural going on here. So this is really, really neat. Just going to be really sad because we're going to have to put this one out of its misery. So go ahead and hang around in for that. No?
Look, she said, I'm sorry, what? What did he say? What did he say? Tell him. Tell him. Tell him no.
So we thought that was funny because this puppy, which is here with us, who we've named Mona, short for Taotaomo'na, there's something kind of supernatural, spiritual going on here with little Mona. If you can see, I keep checking over my shoulder because what that is a Spanish-era stone bridge. This bridge doesn't have any roads going to it anymore. It's just down in the jungle right up against the ocean. I don't know if you can hear it, but the ocean is maybe 20 feet behind where the camera is, where you're sitting, from your viewpoint. And this old bridge is also said to be haunted because the Spanish killed a lot of Chamorro people when they first got here. A dead soul is an uneasy soul. It's a soul that wants to stay around and haunt. It didn't leave this realm on good terms. So we thought this bridge would be a very good backdrop.
So this brings us to the oldest sort of spooky supernatural here on Guam, which would be, as we've mentioned with the puppy's name, the Taotaomo'na.
The belief is when you die, your spirit stays here on Guam. Like the ancient Chamorros that died are still in the forests and they're kind of the protectors of the forest. But at the same time, some of those spirits are evil and they'll mess with you and they will turn you around and make you lost in the jungle.
They are in some ways scary. They'll sort of put the fear of the Taotaomo'na into you if you're not respectful, if you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. But I think they also have interesting lessons for us too.
Yeah, each person seems to have some sort of specific experience, or if not them, they know somebody, absolutely know somebody that's had some sort of experience, whether or not they're as far as like being possessed by a spirit here.
I've done many exorcists in Guam where people are actually possessed by demonic spirits or ancient Chamorro spirits.
Or leaving with marks or something, like pinches is very common.
I've heard a lot of stories since we've been here of people saying they disrespected the jungle when they went in, and then they came back out and they were sick and a doctor couldn't diagnose anything. So, until they went to a Sirahanu, which is a local healer, and tried to figure out when you went in the jungle, what did you do? Did you take something? Did you move something? Did you pee somewhere you weren't supposed to? And then they say that after they see the Sirahanu, that they're fine again.
Yeah. So some of the Chamorro spirits, or the Taotaomo'na, can be described as giants. From what we understand, it's only a specific few, and they have names, but they're supposed to be like supernaturally large. There's Gato, and that's the one that Chris sort of references about if you pee in the woods, then he's the one that causes you to be unable to urinate. And then going back to giant souls that kind of walk among the living, going back to like the Book of Enoch is very similar.
So from Western culture, the Book of Enoch is a book that was in the Bible for a period of time, and then it was taken out. But the Book of Enoch talked about Enoch, who
He's the great-grandfather of Noah.
How we're tying that in is the Nephilim, which were the fallen angels who came down to earth and marry and live with and mate with human women.
They want that male spirit wants to make you pregnant.
And these fallen angels, bred with the human women and made giants. And there was giant kind of half-angel people. And I think that just ties in really closely to some of the Taotaomo'na stories here. And these giant people were said to have walked side by side with regular people. And that's kind of like the Nephilim walking side by side, you know, in this old removed book of the Bible, side by side with the people back then, you know, in a completely different part of the world.
And then the opposite is the duendes.
It's a Spanish word, and it's mostly a Filipino term, but duendes is also a practice that some people think here. And basically what it is small people. Small people that live in the jungle, and they're more mischievous, and they like to lure children out of their yards and lure children in the jungle and make them lost.
Depending on who you talk to, the duendes can be similar to what Chris is talking about, like kind of magical small beings, and then the other interpretation is actually children.
Those myths and legends are found all over the world of supernatural, mischievous, small things. I mean, a leprechaun, goblins, trolls, and specifically where we're from in North Carolina, the Cherokee. The Cherokee have a very similar myth of that there's very tiny little humans that live in the forest.
Stories have been passed down about Cherokee little people.
As legend has it, they lived underground.
Rex, a local author, has a new book out about these little people. Does she believe they exist?
She does. Mary Joyce's book is called Cherokee Little People Were Real, and she says there's evidence to prove it.
So something more regionally close to the Philippines or Guam that we sort of found were the Ebu Gogo, which is in Indonesia, and they were described through like drawings and also like oral folklore as small mischievous beings. And then they actually found scientific evidence of it being its own species, Homo floresiensis.
So something like Homo floresiensis.
They're supposed to be about 3 feet tall, a little hairier than us, wide, pushed-in nose.
And it's funny because the Indonesians that live there, the local Indonesians that live there, their stories say that these little people lived in caves, and they would run back to the caves. They would come and steal food from their villages and try to take some children too, and then they would run back to their caves. And then in 2013, researchers found tiny humans right outside of their village living in the caves, you know, the remnants.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because these stories probably are oral memories passed down from generation to generation
Of small beings, like actual small beings.
that probably really did used to come and try to steal their food and were peering at them through the jungle and very confused about each other and maybe trying to interact a little bit. So it is very fascinating that maybe something like the duendes is something tied into like the Ibu Gogo from Indonesia or from the small people myths and stories all over North America and from trolls in Norway and all the stories all over the world of small people. I just find stuff like this fascinating because we're always on the hunt for things that are not, I find day-to-day life boring. I get a little nihilistic. So when you delve into some of this supernatural stuff, and we had another video here, maybe, where we tried to find magic in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, we were looking for Bigfoot in the Pacific Northwest.
So we're going to hang out here on this probably haunted beach tonight with
Definitely
our
haunted.
dog that Mona, short for Taotaomo'na, which she might be an aswang or something of the spirit realm. We're not sure yet. But anyway, we're just glad to do a Halloween video. And we hope you guys had fun or
Learn some things or...
so. Hopefully this SD card is not found by a fisherman in 10 years and uploaded to the internet and some spooky video. And hopefully we make it out of here tonight. So happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween from Candy Adventures.
Also, Elizabeth carved this pumpkin. We're not going to address this, but it's a gourd or a yam or something.
It's not a yam.
It looks like a pumpkin, and we put it the ambiance.
You know, Halloween-ish. Yeah. Come on. Good girl. Yeah. can't get her.